Hello fellow Runeterrans, and hopefully welcome back. For today's video we are going to be continuing our run through Saltwater Scourge. Now I'm hoping that today's video goes a little bit better than yesterday, where we don't have the weird technical problems where I have to chop up the video and cut things out, and hopefully my brain does not get fried like it was yesterday, because it was at the end of a long day when I was recording to begin with, and then once everything crashed out, I just kind of checked out, and I fully admit that. Listen, I'm not ever gonna lie to you and pretend like my content is always 100% pristine, amazing, top shelf stuff, but today is not going to be one of those bottom dwelling days. We are going to get into some fights because you can see where we are on the map. We got a fight. We got a fight that leads to a chest and a fight that leads to some healing. We're going to start with this one over here, not because we need anything over here, but I just personally would like to get some more experience. Again, this is my first ever playthrough through this, so I'd kind of like to try to clear as many nodes as possible. Now, I like this. We need to pay attention to this. Round start, you and your opponent exchange your weakest followers in hand. So this ought to be a rather entertaining fight with lots of theft, because we are running a lot of the merchant that nabs things, and it's likely going to be one of our weaker units, and so we might be nabbing from their deck. They might be taking things from our hand and then nabbing from our deck. So again, like right here, for example, the merchant would be going to them, but I think we're still going to keep this. I don't want to throw away Twisted Fate, and I don't want to give them Twisted Fate, so we're gonna keep things as is, and instead we end up with a shady character. Seems kind of shady to me, unintended, and interestingly enough, they nabbed it back, and then we got another shady character. So we are just kind of trading them back and forth. I think we're going to hold on to this. Both of these give us card draw opportunities for the eventual Twisted Fate. I know we could attack them here, but on the off chance they actually play a unit, I would like to deal with that. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to, again, give them back their shady character, and they're going to give us something. But we're just going to bank the spell mana, and we're just swapping some shade at this point. We'll let this happen, and that was a great roll for them. I was all excited about this parlay opportunity, but instead they get to hit us with the whammy. We're just gonna go ahead and let that go, because again, our current plan of action is to get this Twisted Fate down. And I think we're just gonna do it and take the blue card here. We've got full spell mana, but I don't have a great way to make use of it at the moment, so we're gonna do this. Reminder, our Twisted Fate here does have spell shield already, and I feel like we want to do one of these card draw effects, but let's start by putting some damage on this, and then we'll go from there. All right, in this instance, we're going to go ahead and spend this as our spell mana. We have the parlay. This is going to take damage, so as long as they don't take the open attack this next round, we can ping it. Shady character is what we will be donating away for now, but I think I want to get both of these on the board because of the discounted cost. It's just too good value in reality to not spend 1 mana and get a 5/2 overwhelm. That feels pretty good to me. We have a shady character, so the Vi should be fine. Not a huge fan of letting them copy this here, but it is what it is. I think we let them have it because they're essentially out of mana, which makes this parlay a bit more spicy for us. And I think we are fine with a block. We're going to take some damage as a result. Could mitigate some of it and go that route. We do have the spell shield here. That's probably fine. Let's actually go ahead and do this. Ooh, we get a pilfered goods as well. Let's just go ahead and take some stuff from their deck, see if anything neat pops up. Well, the loaded dice is comical, but I think we're gonna go ahead and let this happen. And we're going to progress to the next round. We do have the calculated creations here as well, and all sorts of funny business, but I think this is one of those times where we might want to consider the open attack with them only being at 12. We have the potential to get them down to 2 here. Twisted Fate is also capable of leveling, so then after the fact we could even get that red card in for an extra 1. And yet I'm really feeling like developing makes more sense, because even if they play 1 blocker, as long as what we play is at least 2, we still get that same net effect because this can pull away the blocker. So let's just go ahead and do this, and let's go ahead and grab the ballistic bot here, because if we are in fact going to be getting them down to 1, obviously the ballistic bot allows us to play ignition, and when you ignition somebody to death, that's the remix to ignition. But we might not even need to do that. We also, again, we could just do this to level up Twisted Fate and then push our attack to get them to 1 and then trigger the red card. And I actually think that's the way we want to go. I don't think we're going to push it any further. We're just going to go ahead and get them to 1, and then we're going to play the bot. And we're going to go from there. The reason I ended up changing my mind is as I was looking at our options here, we don't really have a lot in the way of cheap cards, cheap activators.
Blue as the serpent.
And we're not in a position where we really could have milked this for more. Oh, I was wrong. We just casually top deck a burble fish. The fish for the win, the fish for the victory. And we're out of there, and we only took 1 damage. So we get experience points, we get gold, and we get the satisfaction of a job well done. So we're gonna go ahead and go through all of my end screens very quickly here so that we can see what our rewards are. And I really like calculated creations here again, because we know it has the draw effect already attached. Anytime you're presented options and one has an item on it already, getting more copies of that card feels really good. But also now we're furthering the power level of that card, so making this now a 1-cost card where we draw a card and we do the creation seems pretty good. Again, we're playing Twisted Fate, so we want those draws. And we're gonna go pick a fight again. And I think that the proper way to go about this is to do this fight first, and then we can backtrack and do this one and maybe push for treasure. But the reason I want to do this first is if this goes horribly, right? If our outcome is horrific, well, then we can top off and heal and then go back up this path. But if it goes well, then we kind of have this node banked for healing because this one's already spent, but we'll have this one unlocked. And so then we can try to do some of these other things and reevaluate when we want to use this healing. So let's go ahead and at least get this out of the way. This is interesting. Give the first enemy summoned each round -2, -0. Now this is their effect. So that means every unit we play, the first one each round, is going to be weak. But that's okay. You might think Rek'Sai's favorite thing to eat is people traveling across the Great Side, but it's actually I love some of their flavor tech stuff. I really do. All right. I think this is a fine hand to keep. The only one questionable is Vi, but it's in the opener, so she's going to grow. And that's important because the turn we play her, she's going to get that -2, right? And we're going to want that mitigated. So what's interesting about us is on our attack rounds, we're going to always have this sapling eat the minus from us, because this will always come out first. So that means we can't count on that to clean up the board, but we can use it to push damage, make sure we're getting our plunder triggers, etc, etc. So this is just a draw for them, because obviously nothing happened there. And I think we're just gonna wait. We want this plunder, and then we'll go ahead and play the merchant.
Open wide, sugar.
And I do think you still do the merchant here, even though we got the Y'all Hunters. I think you want to get this down because then these will start giving us even greater discounts. We want those deep discounts. And again, we can always play this here if we wanted. I personally am a big fan of maybe playing this Twisted Fate. But now this is actually kind of interesting because if we play the Y'all Hunters, then we could potentially block with it. It's going to get -2, but we'll have the Predator to help it out. But I think what we're going to do instead, we're going to utilize our
Hold it, partner.
Twisted Fate versatility. And we're just going to say, okay, let's stun that to get us to the next round. It's just one less card draw towards leveling it up, but that's okay in my mind because we've got... yeah, we can send
Like trouble.
Twisted Fate as well. We've got ways to deal here. Now the Ruin Runner is a bit scary. All right, so Twisted Fate is down, so we can just go ahead and draw tons of cards here. We're gonna have 3 merchants on the board, and then we're also gonna just casually pop this, which will make a Poro, but also gonna give us these deep discounted options. And we are going to consider popping the spell shield here. So my train of thought is we want to not take overwhelm damage if we can help it. And we're in a good position to maybe do that if we play a Vi and block, because it soaks the majority of it, soaks 5. We do have this for 1 that soaks 4 of it. Just means we have to overwrite a unit, so maybe that's fine. And then if they don't take the open attack, we could use this on like something like that, for example. And I think that's okay as well. Twisted Fate's going to be at 6 of 9, and we'll have Zap as a potential draw trigger. And all right, I've talked myself into it. I think we're just going to overwrite our Poro. The Poro was nice. It was good free value, but I really feel like having the bigger body to tone down potential overwhelm. No, that is horrible for us, because that's also going to take out our big blocker. Spell shield did save us though, but this is huge and potentially soaking quite a bit. So I don't think we have a good way to save our big blocker. I think you just accept this. And I'm honestly considering doing something where we pop the spell shield and then we could give it the minus. Then we don't have a body for the blocking. We could just play Raz. And I think that's what we want to do. Again, I think in this game mode, you're just trying to mitigate how much damage you're taking. I don't want to get rid of my cute merchants giving me the discounts, but something like this means we have a net result of 4. And that's probably acceptable. And I think that's what we want to do. That's a good place to end our shenanigans here. Gangplank here at 3 of 5. We've got this. So let's just go ahead and see if we can level up Twisted Fate. And it does actually appear that we're going to be able to. And oh, this is a tough call. Ballistic Bot gives us a lot of value. Nyandroid, however, is another elusive unit. to potentially push some of that sweet damage. And I don't know how I feel about it. I guess it doesn't matter. We're not going to play whatever we choose here. And so in that regard, I think we're going to take the Android. But the reason I'm saying we're not going to play it is the Y'all Hunters are going to come down and at least try to pull this, try to threaten that. Being able to deal with that during our attack as opposed to blocking and dealing with the overwhelm is a pretty big deal after all. And we're going to try to set ourselves up with the ability to push for lethal. So we're going to have the Hunters do this. We're going to have this soak here. And then we have casually, right? 2, 4, 6, 9. And then we've got this that could at best, you know, pump up one of these as well as this. And so we should have enough to get ourselves to lethal here. We'll just go ahead and make our elusive unit nice and spicy. And we'll pop that spell shield as well. And that's actually interesting because that means that's going to be stunned. And so this lets us push even more damage. Yeah. Let's go ahead and go this route. All right, they stuck it in front anyway. Either way it goes, we're going to end up with a nice push. And voila. See, a lot more success today, a lot smoother gameplay, better choices. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about today. So we're gonna speed through all of this. We're gonna make a choice. Battle rewards. All of these have items. Jack the Winner gives us a way to kind of go over the top. We have more potential card draw with the Insightful Investigator, not just in the Philosopher's Stone, but also in her ability. And then we could just play a big Badger Bear. Could just play a big bear. And as cool as that sounds, I don't think that's where we want to be. So for me, I think right now it's probably somewhere between the Investigator and Jack. And I'm having a hard time because Investigator actually could cause us to overdraw quite a bit. We have a number of cards that cost 2. I'm thinking specifically about the large number of merchants in our deck. And if you're triggering them, then you are nabbing one and then also drawing one from this, and then you've drawn one when you've played her, and so on and so forth. That actually might be too much. I could be wrong, but it actually might be too much. And so I think we're going to go with Jack again, just because Jack gives us something that we don't really have a lot of right now. And that's that kind of going over the top, that reach, that burst, in case we get stuck in a bit of trench warfare. Now we've leveled up. This is great news. We're going to get to choose a power. So we are again given the lion weight. Could just also go with time bombs, or you can make everything a dragon. And so this is where we come back and we say, okay, how many units do we have that cost 3 or less? We just added Jack, who's obviously not 3 or less, but we do have a fair amount of units that do cost 3 or less, even more so because we're now up to 5 on the merchant, and this is allies everywhere. And so with that in mind, I really feel like Lion Weight actually ends up being the best potential value. We're not really playing a beefy deck where the Dragon's Rage and the Fury is going to matter very much, and we don't have a lot of Dragon synergy. And while we've got uses for the time bombs, obviously we like drawing cards, and the time bombs help us with that. We've already got similar effects in our deck, specifically with like Twisted Fate. And so the one to the board isn't that great. I would like to make our cheap units retain value long term. And so given these choices, we're going to go ahead and select the Lion Weight. Then we're going to go pick a fight over here because we basically took like no damage. So we can leave this node. Now I wonder if I can come here and just leave and not actually use this here, because again, we could also cut a card. In this case, we'd probably cut like Wave Rider. We do have the option to heal, but if I just leave and I travel, say, to this level 4 fight, which would be the toughest fight we've had so far, it should allow me to come back and then still use that spot. I actually don't know if that works. We haven't tried skipping a health node yet, but I believe that's how it works, and so I think that's what we want to do. And so every time they get the attack token, they get a powder monkey, and every time we get one, we get the sapling. So this ought to be a rather interesting fight. Now that node is still lit up, so I'm going to assume that my assumptions are correct. And we are going to pick this fight. And this might have to be the last battle of this video. I'm thinking it's probably going to be about 3 per video. Again, not because I'm not having fun, I'm having a blast, but just because I want to try to keep these relatively short so that you don't have to sit through like an hour at a time. Like, I want to give you, the viewer, good breakpoints. Now this is not looking great. This is kind of awful, actually. Do like the top deck of the 1-drop though.
I'll be quick.
We're just gonna go ahead and do that. And trigger some lurk while we're at it. Kind of interesting because our saplings with lion weight are very funny. It is everywhere. So our saplings are oh, kind of amazing. All right, we're gonna be stuck dealing with some monkey business, unfortunately, and I legitimately think we're just gonna take this 6. This is awful. I do not think we want to block. And I think that's unfortunate. Oh, I'm fighting a sneeze. Okay, it's gone. And now we have to make that decision about whether or not we want to play one of these merchants, or do we just take this? I think we want to take this. We want to wait till we have a round where we can double merchant. I was kind of hoping for the lifesteal option here, because then you can sometimes cheat and use that to refill your health. And we didn't get it. So with that in mind, I think we're going to take the meteor shower here. Well, that's unfortunate. We're going to do it this way and get rid of their elusive unit so that ours can push. We know that this is going to happen, but we're going to even out our health totals, kind of take control of the board. I say kind of because our big issue right now is that they are going to get the monkey, so we take at least 1 here. And it's about to get worse. We're going to go ahead and do this into a bot. And we're going to kind of chuckle because the bot will also have lurk. And so on top of the augment shenanigans, we're going to have the lurk shenanigans. I think I want to take this at a discount and just go ahead and make that bigger as we continue this race. We're trying to not bleed too much damage. Probably good we did this and saved the health option, I'm thinking. We're gonna go ahead and go with a poke, because I want to activate these, I think, before we attack. We're gonna go ahead and go with a nab. And we're gonna go ahead and go with a nab. Well, that's a bit spooky. That's not very nice at all. How dare they? And I guess we're gonna make our own monkey. We've already got our poke in, so we get the plunder there. That's kind of nice. And we're gonna go ahead and I think we want to get rid of this so that we don't take more monkey damage. But there is an actual reasonable argument to be made about just trying to push more damage, but we can't get lethal here, so I think this is the right way to go. I think we want to do it with this so that we get the overwhelm on top of it. This pulls here because this is going to die either way.
Open wide.
Then we have to decide if we want to ship these or not, knowing that the monkey is going to die. It would be getting them down to 6. And I think that's fine. We do have our own monkey coming next round, which technically gets them to 5. Because again, you have to assume they take this one block. The only thing I'm wondering is, like, if we do this, this gets them down to 1, and then the monkey we get next round kills them. And I say it gets them down to 1 because you assume that, well, the monkey might not block the 5-2. The AI might still prioritize one of the 3-2s because they take less damage. I don't know. We'll find out what the AI does. This is one of those moments where you're trying to trick the AI, I think. And so I'm actually back to my previous statement where I thought maybe we should have let that go. So instead we're going to go down to 3 here, which is unfortunate because it means we're going to end up taking net 1 extra damage, but what else can you do? Interesting that they want to kill that, so we're just gonna let them, I suppose. Maybe we can find something from them. We still get the 1 discount. Yeah. We've got a boom ship that allows us to deal 1 to something, which is also kind of comical. It's kind of a shame that we didn't have that second merchant still, because this could have made a keg and this could have popped them, but then they also wouldn't have been at this health. So that kind of doesn't matter. In that case, I think this coming down to make a keg makes the most sense. AI should actually pull the keg here, but they do not. We're just gonna go ahead and mitigate. We'll take the 2 and then we just have the boom ship at the start of this next round so we can avoid this monkey. We should be fine. So we did take a healthy amount of damage this time. That is a healthy amount of damage. Oh, this is 2 to a unit. I thought this one was the 2 to anything. Well, my mistake. Could just push this and pray they don't have removal. Could also develop the Wave Rider. But I think we'll just take the open attack. We'll take the victory. And we're gonna have to decide if we want to use that healing node now or not. So let's go ahead and see, one, what our rewards are, but also where we are on the map, because I want to make sure we're as healed as possible before we take on the boss. Oh, I don't like a lot of these. +3/+3, but ephemeral doesn't feel great to me. We'd like this, in all honesty, to just be a normal Jagged Butcher. Mechanized Mimic is cheeky, but it's already going to be getting a bunch of keywords, so the fact that it just gets an extra keyword when you first play it doesn't feel great. And so to me, that means Harsh Winds is probably the pick here. It is, after all, -3 cost, so for the cost of, you know, a normal frostbite effect, you get 2. And so yeah, value, sure. You get a lot of XP. We're almost at half health, which means this would be as close to full value as we can get. And we are, I think, in a good spot to heal here, because I was concerned about making sure we have enough health going into this, but if we full heal here and then we go to this treasure chest option, then we go here, we're fine. So we'll heal, and then we just have this one fight. You know what? We can check this out though. Game start, create a Sanctum Conservator in hand, which is basically nothing. Maybe we do this first, because if we even take 2 damage, we can still full heal that there. And I think we're fine at 16. We haven't taken that much in a fight yet, and this was a level 4 encounter. It was our hardest one to date. So with that in mind, I think what we're going to do, we're going to end here. As I said, I wanted to keep these, I think, to a certain number of encounters. And when we come back, we'll probably start with this fight, heal up, take the treasure, and then we will face Azir, our first boss. Right? This is like the mini boss along the way. And Azir is pretty spooky because sand soldiers get +2/+0. This has the potential to be a very dangerous encounter. And even more so in my mind, when I'm looking at this map, what I'm concerned about is we take this fight and there's this node here and there's this, you know, here, and this one's guaranteed an encounter. We can see the swords here. So if one of these isn't a healing node, this could do a lot of damage to us, and then we could have like no way to progress forward. But we won't know what these are until obviously the rest of the map opens up. So that's what we're hoping for. That's it for today's video. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you are enjoying the Saltwater Scourge playthrough. Again, this is a kind of game mode that I just really enjoy, and so I wanted to share it with you. And we're almost there. I think with tomorrow's video, we'll be halfway done. Nice little series. That's it. Until next time, may you walk on warm sands.